If he disappeared without a word, it doesn't mean you weren't enough. It means he lost control. Ghosting is not about rejection. It is about emotional regulation. Most people think ghosting happens because someone loses interest. But that is not true. Interest can fade without disappearing. Desire can change without silence. Ghosting happens when a person cannot manage what they feel. Not attraction, but pressure. Pressure to explain. Pressure to decide. Pressure to be honest. Pressure to take responsibility. When emotional intensity rises, when expectations begin to form, when connection starts to feel real, a man who lacks emotional control feels trapped. And instead of facing that discomfort, he chooses the fastest way out: silence. This is why ghosting feels so shocking, because it breaks the basic human contract. If we connect, we communicate. If we leave, we explain. Ghosting violates that contract, and the person who violates it is not powerful. They are overwhelmed. Women often internalize ghosting. They assume it is about value, beauty, behavior, timing. But ghosting is not a value judgment. It is a coping strategy, a weak one. A man who ghosts is not choosing someone else. He is choosing avoidance. Avoidance of discomfort. Avoidance of accountability, avoidance of emotional maturity. And when someone disappears instead of communicating, they're telling you one thing very clearly: I cannot handle this. Not you. This. Connection, depth, expectation, reality. Ghosting is not about losing attraction. It is about losing control. To understand ghosting, you need to understand emotional avoidance. Many men are taught how to pursue, but not how to process emotions. They know how to initiate. They know how to impress. They know how to escalate. But they do not know how to regulate vulnerability. When emotions deepen, the nervous system reacts. Heart rate increases. Anxiety rises. Control feels threatened. Instead of saying, I'm unsure, I'm overwhelmed, I'm not ready, they shut down. Ghosting is a nervous system response. It is not a calculated attack. It is a flight reaction. Facing someone means risking conflict. Disappointing someone means tolerating guilt. Explaining yourself means owning your limitations. For emotionally immature men, this feels unbearable, so they disappear and tell themselves a story. It's better this way. She'll get over it. No explanation is better than a bad one. But silence is never neutral. Silence transfers emotional labor to the other person. The woman is left to process, to question, to doubt, to carry the weight alone. This is why ghosting is emotionally violent. Not loud, not aggressive, but destabilizing. And here is the most important part. Men who ghost often do it when they care more, not less, because caring increases responsibility, and responsibility requires emotional strength. Ghosting is not indifference. It is emotional collapse disguised as distance. A man who cannot face emotional discomfort will always choose disappearance over dialogue, not because he doesn't feel, but because he feels too much and has no tools to handle it. After ghosting, the instinct is to react, to fix, to clarify, to chase resolution, and this is where many women give their power away. Mistake number 1: over-explaining. Long messages, emotional paragraphs, careful wording. This teaches the ghoster that silence gives them control, that you will do the emotional work for both of you. Mistake number 2: waiting. Waiting for a reply, waiting for an apology, waiting for closure. Waiting keeps you emotionally attached to someone who already chose not to participate. Mistake number 3: self-blame. Questioning your worth, your behavior, your standards. Ghosting thrives on self-doubt, because self-doubt shifts focus away from the behavior and onto the victim. The truth is simple. Healthy people communicate. Unhealthy people disappear. You do not need to convince someone to choose you. You need to observe how they behave when things get real. The moment someone ghosts, the dynamic has already ended. Your response determines whether you keep your power or hand it away. Silence does not require explanation. It requires boundaries. Not reacting is not weakness. It is clarity. When you stop chasing answers from someone who chose silence, you interrupt the cycle. And that is where your power returns. Here is the final truth. Ghosting feels like abandonment. But it is not loss. It is information. Information about emotional capacity. Information about maturity. Information about limits. The strongest position after ghosting is not confrontation. It is detachment, not coldness, not bitterness, but grounded self-respect. You do not need closure from someone who avoided honesty. Closure comes from understanding this. Someone who disappears is not capable of offering a stable connection. And the real question is not, why did he ghost? The real question is, why would I want someone who handles discomfort by disappearing? Silence does not give power to the ghoster. It exposes them, because the person who can walk away without explanation is not winning. They are avoiding growth, avoiding accountability, avoiding intimacy, and that avoidance will follow them everywhere. You did not lose someone valuable. You avoided long-term emotional instability. Ghosting does not mean you were not enough. It means the other person was not equipped. And in the end, the one who loses is not the person who is left. It is the person who could not stay, speak, or face themselves.